You've been told that climbing the corporate ladder is the path to security, freedom, and influence, that a promotion will solve your problems. More pay, more authority, more control. But here's the truth. Promotion rarely fixes the underlying issues that limit your growth, your time, and your financial resilience. It simply moves the constraints higher up the hierarchy. The first illusion is time. At every level, work expands to fill the space available. As your responsibilities increase, so does the expectation to be present, responsive, and aligned. Meetings multiply, approvals accumulate, and decisions become constant. A promotion does not grant freedom. It trades one set of tasks for another, often more complex and more consuming. Your calendar may be full of strategic meetings, but your actual leverage may shrink. You're no longer executing tasks, you're sustaining a structure, reacting to crises, and constantly justifying your decisions. The second illusion is financial security. A higher salary looks like safety, but it rarely addresses the real vulnerabilities in your income structure. Your expenses grow alongside your income. Lifestyle inflation, bigger mortgages, and new obligations turn a pay raise into a temporary illusion of stability. The organization still controls the flow of money. If a restructuring occurs, if markets shift, or if priorities change, no amount of promotion can guarantee continuity. But real financial independence is created outside the direct paycheck, through assets, investments, and income streams that do not rely on approval from a superior. The third illusion is influence. A title gives visibility, but it doesn't necessarily increase control over outcomes. You may make decisions, but only within the boundaries set by the organization. Authority is conditional. You may gain the right to lead, but the system's expectations, processes, and politics still dictate how your influence is applied. Without independent leverage, higher status can even amplify exposure to risk. More decisions mean more responsibility, more scrutiny, and a faster feedback loop for mistakes. Promotion can mask problems rather than solve them. It creates the appearance of progress while reinforcing dependency on time, approval, and a structural stability. The same vulnerabilities that existed in a lower role, time pressure, income dependency, the constrained decision-making, persist at higher levels. In fact, they often grow more complex, less flexible, and harder to escape. Understanding this is the first step toward breaking the cycle. The real solution does not lie in the title you hold, the corner office you occupy, or the paycheck you receive. The solution lies in building leverage, creating scalable systems, and designing independence that functions regardless of organizational hierarchy. Without these foundations, every promotion simply exchanges one set of constraints for another. This audiobook will reveal why promotions rarely fix the core issues that limit growth and what you can do instead. It will explore the structural realities of work, the invisible traps of a status, and the strategic approaches that create real autonomy. By the end, you will understand why climbing the ladder is not enough, and how to leverage every step of your career to build independence, resilience, and freedom that a title alone can never provide. The question is not whether you can earn a higher salary. The question is whether that higher salary truly gives you what you want: control over your time, security over your income, and freedom in your choices. Without addressing the underlying systems, a promotion is just another layer of complexity in a structure that limits you. And that is the problem most professionals never see until it's too late. But Chapter 1, the promotion. Illusion. Promotion is often framed as the ultimate solution to professional frustration. More responsibility, more pay, more recognition. It sounds like freedom in disguise. Yet the reality is far more complex. A promotion does not automatically resolve the underlying issues that limit autonomy, financial resilience, or long-term growth. It changes the form of constraints without eliminating them. Where the first and most visible misconception is that a higher title brings more freedom. On the surface, promotions suggest authority, the power to make decisions, lead teams, and influence outcomes. But authority within an organizational hierarchy is conditional. Every decision must align with company strategy, executive priorities, and stakeholder expectations. Autonomy is constrained not by capability, but by structure. You may lead a department, but your initiatives are bounded by existing processes, budget constraints, and cultural norms. The higher you rise, the more intricate these boundaries become. Time, often considered a luxury granted by promotion, remains limited. While a promotion might reduce some manual tasks, it simultaneously introduces complex responsibilities: strategic planning, cross-department coordination, reporting, and crisis management. Meetings multiply. Communication becomes continuous and fragmented. The calendar, once somewhat manageable, now dictates priorities, leaving little room for deep focus or creative problem solving. A higher salary does not buy back time. It only changes how it is consumed. Financial security, another perceived benefit, is similarly deceptive. Promotions frequently increase income, creating a sense of safety. Yet, this increased revenue often triggers lifestyle inflation. Housing costs rise, social expectations adjust, and personal obligations expand. The higher paycheck may increase comfort temporarily, but it rarely addresses a structural dependency. The organization still controls cash flow. If the company faces financial strain, industry disruption, or leadership changes, the elevated income provides little protection. True financial security emerges from diversified assets and independent revenue streams, not salary alone. Influence, too, is limited. Higher positions increase visibility, but visibility does not equate to true control. But decision-making authority is constrained by organizational politics, competing priorities, and resource limitations. Greater influence often brings greater scrutiny. Mistakes are magnified. Approval cycles lengthen. Paradoxically, the very promotion intended to expand autonomy can increase dependency. As your position becomes tied to maintaining alignment with supervisors and the stakeholders. The higher you climb, the more your freedom is contingent upon others' perception and tolerance. What this dynamic creates an invisible trap. Promotions mask systemic issues, dependency on approval, exposure to structural risk, and over-reliance on time-bound labor. Many professionals mistake title for independence, assuming that recognition and pay correlate with control. In reality, the underlying vulnerabilities remain unchanged. In some cases, they intensify. More responsibilities, higher expectations, and expanded visibility increase both the stakes and the pressure to conform. And promotions can convert linear constraints into complex, multi-layered dependencies. The strategic question becomes, how can professionals leverage promotion without falling into these hidden traps? The answer lies in reframing the role of advancement. Promotion should be viewed not as a destination, but as a tool, a source of capital, credibility, and influence that can be redirected toward building a structural autonomy. To extract true value, one must consciously separate status from leverage, pay from independence, and responsibility from dependency. Building autonomy requires identifying scalable assets, diversifying income streams, and developing skills and systems that function independently of hierarchical validation. It involves converting time into leverage rather than allowing it to remain tethered to organizational processes. It demands careful allocation of financial, intellectual, and operational resources toward structures that create optionality and resilience. Consider the professional who reaches a senior position but maintains a single source dependency. The higher salary, expanded authority, and improved benefits do little to protect against organizational or market disruption. By contrast, another professional at the same level who uses promotion as a platform to develop independent income channels, formalize intellectual property, and expand networks outside the organization creates a buffer that elevates real freedom, or the title becomes secondary. Leverage and autonomy define security. Promotion can provide opportunities, but without intentional planning, it is insufficient. Titles and pay alone cannot solve a structural risk, time scarcity, or dependency on approval. Professionals who mistake elevation for independence risk building their careers on fragile foundations. Understanding this distinction is crucial. Promotion is an instrument, not the solution. Its value is realized only when combined with a strategic action aimed at independence, resilience, and leverage. This chapter establishes a critical principle. Career advancement should be a vehicle for building systems and assets, not a substitute for them. By recognizing the limitations inherent in promotion, professionals can approach their next steps strategically. Every title, pay raise, or leadership opportunity becomes a tool to increase autonomy rather than an end in itself. This mindset transforms promotion from a potential trap into a catalyst for sustainable growth. Chapter 2: Time Traps and Overwork. One of the most pervasive challenges in professional life is the illusion that working harder equates to meaningful progress. Time, after all, is the one resource that cannot be replenished. Yet, for many professionals, the majority of their hours are consumed by what can only be described as time traps, activities that create the appearance of productivity without producing substantial results. Promotion, status, or a larger paycheck does little to remove these traps. In fact, it often exacerbates them. The first time trap is the endless meeting cycle. As one rises in an organization, meetings multiply. Strategy sessions, status updates, cross-departmental briefings, and executive reviews fill the calendar. While each meeting may be justified on paper, but their cumulative effect is an invisible tax on focus. Time spent moving between rooms, checking devices, and preparing slides detracts from higher value tasks that could create leverage. Professionals often leave these sessions feeling busy, yet unable to point to tangible outcomes. Promotion rarely reduces the number of meetings. It often increases the stakes, requiring more preparation, follow-up, and alignment. But email management represents a second insidious trap. Inbox zero is an elusive goal. The higher the position, the greater the volume of messages. Each email demands attention, interpretation, and response. Important decisions are buried under low-value correspondence. Professionals can spend hours drafting, replying, and organizing without generating significant leverage. A promotion does not change the underlying pattern. It simply elevates the volume and importance of communication, but often creating a constant sense of urgency without corresponding a strategic impact. Another form of time trap is reactive task management. Urgent requests, unexpected crises, and ad hoc responsibilities dominate the day. Professionals often fall into a cycle of responding rather than initiating. Each completed task provides temporary satisfaction, but it does not scale or accumulate independent value. Promotion may increase the authority to delegate, but without intentional structuring of work and clear boundaries, reactive patterns persist. The more senior the role, the higher the expectations to respond, leaving little room for deliberate strategy. Administrative overhead compounds the issue. As roles expand, professionals assume responsibility for larger teams, more complex projects, and broader initiatives. Reporting, documentation, compliance, and approvals consume significant energy. These tasks are often necessary, but they rarely produce leverage. Without systems in place to streamline or automate these processes, time continues to be siphoned away from activities that could generate scalable outcomes. Promotion increases responsibility, but not necessarily efficiency. The psychological effect of time traps is significant. Professionals may equate busyness with competence, mistaking visible effort for meaningful progress. The perception of being overworked becomes a badge of dedication, but reinforcing patterns of reactive behavior. This dynamic creates a subtle but persistent stress cycle: longer hours, diminishing returns, and heightened dependency on organizational structures. Over time, the constant demand on time reduces the capacity to invest in independent income streams, skill development, or strategic initiatives. Breaking free from these traps requires deliberate prioritization. First, every task must be evaluated through the lens of leverage. Does this activity produce outcomes that continue to generate value without constant personal input? If not, it may need to be minimized, delegated, or eliminated. Second, time blocks should be protected for high-impact work that scales results, such as building systems, developing skills, or creating assets. Deep work, uninterrupted by reactive obligations, is essential for converting effort into leverage. Automation and delegation are critical tools. Technology can streamline repetitive processes, while teams can handle routine responsibilities. The goal is to convert linear input into exponential output. Professionals who invest in these mechanisms while advancing in their careers are able to reclaim time, focus on strategic opportunities, and reduce dependency on constant activity. Promotion becomes a platform, not a treadmill. Finally, professionals must cultivate awareness of hidden time costs. Context switching, multitasking, and continuous partial attention erode efficiency. Even when tasks appear productive, fragmented focus reduces quality and slows progress. Recognizing the difference between motion and value is essential. True productivity is measured not by activity, but by results, particularly results that compound over time and do not rely on constant personal presence. In summary, promotion alone does not resolve the fundamental issue of time scarcity. Meetings, emails, reactive tasks, administrative overhead, and psychological attachment to busyness create persistent time traps. Addressing these requires deliberate design, prioritization, automation, delegation, and protection of high-value work. By building systems and habits that convert effort into leverage, professionals can escape the cycle of overwork, reclaim autonomy, and transform promotion from a source of increased pressure into a tool for the strategic growth. Chapter 3. Financial illusions of advancement. Promotion is often celebrated as a financial milestone, a higher salary, bigger bonuses, or enhanced benefits. On the surface, it seems like a solution to financial stress, a direct path to security. Yet the reality is more nuanced. A promotion may increase income, but it rarely addresses the structural challenges that determine long-term financial freedom. Without deliberate strategy, higher pay can become a trap rather than a solution. The first illusion lies in lifestyle inflation. As compensation rises, so do expectations. Bigger apartments, newer cars, higher-end gadgets, and social obligations. Each increment in salary is often absorbed by corresponding increases in expenses. The perception of wealth grows, but net financial independence remains unchanged. In many cases, professionals are effectively exchanging higher responsibility and pressure for a marginal improvement in disposable income. The promotion creates the impression of stability while leaving underlying vulnerabilities intact. Another hidden challenge is dependency on a single income source. Regardless of the size of the paycheck, financial security is fragile if it comes solely from one employer or one role. Market shifts, the corporate restructuring, or sudden economic downturns can eliminate that income overnight. Promotions often increase visibility and expectations, making an individual even more reliant on the organization for financial continuity. The higher the salary, the more painful the disruption becomes if alternatives are not established. Bonuses and performance-based incentives are another subtle trap. They tie income to subjective assessments or organizational profitability. Professionals may feel they are earning more, yet the reality is that reward is conditional. High performance does not guarantee a stability or leverage. Financial gains tied to conditional metrics do not create freedom. They create dependency. True wealth, in contrast, emerges from assets, systems, and income streams that function independently of approval cycles or organizational results. Retirement and long-term savings plans, often promoted as benefits, can also create illusionary comfort. While these are valuable, they are usually locked into delayed access and are insufficient to provide immediate financial flexibility or autonomy. Relying solely on long-term institutional savings maintains dependency on time, market conditions, and organizational policies. Without proactive investment and independent income channels, even senior employees can remain vulnerable to economic shocks. Promotion can exacerbate these illusions. As responsibilities increase, thus the temptation to maintain lifestyle parity grows. Professionals may defer asset building or skill development in favor of immediate consumption. The cognitive bias toward visible reward, salary increases, office perks, and title recognition can overshadow a strategic financial planning. The higher the title, the more ingrained the association between income and identity, making independent wealth creation seem secondary or unnecessary. The key to overcoming these financial illusions is conscious allocation and leverage. Income from promotion should be directed strategically toward assets that produce independent cash flow, scalable ventures, or investments that compound over time. Rather than inflating lifestyle, the professional should focus on converting incremental income into a structural freedom. Every dollar can be treated as a tool for leverage rather than a measure of temporary comfort. Building independent revenue channels is central to this strategy. Side ventures, digital products, consultancy frameworks, and investments can generate income decoupled from the organization. These streams reduce vulnerability, increase optionality, and create financial resilience. Promotion can serve as the capital source to fund these initiatives, but the focus must remain on building systems and assets that outlast any single role. Skill accumulation is equally critical. Intellectual capital, marketable knowledge, specialized frameworks, and transferable expertise functions as a form of financial leverage. These skills can be monetized in multiple ways, creating opportunities outside the immediate employment relationship. Higher-level positions provide access to resources, networks, and knowledge that can accelerate the creation of these assets, but only if consciously applied toward independent channels. Financial literacy is a final pillar that professionals must distinguish between nominal increases in income and real increases in independence. Understanding cash flow, risk management, compounding, and scalable investment strategies allows promotion to become a tool rather than a trap. Without this literacy, higher pay may feel empowering, but does little to alter a structural dependency or long-term security. In summary, the financial benefits of promotion are often illusionary. Lifestyle inflation, but dependency on a single income source, conditional bonuses, and deferred benefits create a veneer of security without addressing core vulnerabilities. Overcoming these illusions requires deliberate strategy, redirecting income into scalable assets, developing transferable skills, creating independent revenue channels, and cultivating financial literacy. Promotion should serve as a platform for autonomy and leverage, not merely an increase in disposable income. When approached strategically, advancement can convert nominal financial gains into real independence. Without such planning, a promotion may simply add more responsibility, more dependency, and more exposure to systemic risk, leaving the professional busier, stressed, and no closer to true financial freedom. Chapter 4: Authority without control. Promotion often conveys the illusion of power. A new title, corner office, or expanded team gives the appearance of authority. Yet authority within a hierarchical organization is rarely absolute. True control, the ability to make independent decisions, influence outcomes, and direct resources without constraint, is limited by a structure, politics, and systemic dependencies. This disconnect between authority and control is a key reason promotions often fail to deliver real freedom. The first aspect of this disconnect is conditional decision-making. Authority in a corporate setting comes with parameters. Decisions must align with company strategy, comply with policies, and consider stakeholder expectations. Even executives must operate within budgets, timelines, and procedural constraints. The result is that influence is circumscribed. While the title suggests power, the ability to act independently is limited. Professionals quickly discover that leadership is often a negotiation with invisible boundaries rather than an expression of complete autonomy. Second, promotion increases exposure to scrutiny without necessarily increasing capacity to act. Higher positions draw attention from peers, subordinates, and superiors. Every decision is evaluated, critiqued, and potentially reversed. Mistakes are magnified and the margin for error shrinks. This visibility, while often portrayed as a benefit, creates dependency on perception. Maintaining authority requires constant validation, whether through performance metrics, relationship management, or political navigation. As a result, perceived authority becomes tethered to the approval of others, reducing practical control. Resource limitations are another factor. Leadership often requires access to time, talent, and capital. Yet these resources are rarely unlimited. Even senior managers face restrictions on budgets, team capacity, and operational flexibility. Authority without adequate resources is symbolic rather than functional. The professionals may have the responsibility to deliver results, but not the means to do so fully, creating a stress and limiting a strategic impact. The higher the rank, the more acute these constraints can become. Organizational politics further restrict control. Promotion places individuals in a network of competing priorities, alliances, and agendas. Decision-making authority is often mediated by relationships, negotiations, and unwritten rules. Navigating these dynamics consumes energy and attention, diverting focus from strategic initiatives. Authority is not absent, but it is fragmented. Professionals must balance influence with diplomacy, making leadership a complex exercise in constraint rather than a straightforward exercise of power. The psychological dimension is equally as significant. Professionals who equate title with autonomy often experience frustration, as they may believe that higher rank automatically solves problems of control, only to encounter systemic barriers at every level. This mismatch between expectation and reality creates a stress, disillusionment, and overwork. Authority becomes performative rather than functional, with the individual acting within parameters rather than shaping them. To mitigate this gap between authority and control, a deliberate approach is required. First, identify areas where independent influence can be maximized. These may include projects, systems, or teams where decision-making freedom is greater. Focus energy on these zones rather than attempting to assert control in areas dominated by structural constraints. The goal is to allocate effort where it produces leverage, not simply visibility. Second, build external sources of influence. Networks, partnerships, and personal credibility extend authority beyond organizational boundaries. As professionals who cultivate reputation and trust outside their immediate reporting lines gain optionality and leverage. Control becomes a function of strategic positioning rather than title alone. External influence can amplify internal authority, enabling decisions and initiatives that would otherwise be blocked by hierarchy. Third, integrate systemic thinking into leadership. Understanding organizational structure, incentive alignment, and procedural boundaries allows professionals to anticipate constraints and work within or around them strategically. Authority without control is manageable when one can predict where friction occurs and design interventions that navigate it efficiently. Systems thinking transforms apparent limitations into opportunities for strategic leverage. Finally, professionals must maintain a long-term perspective. When short-term frustration from limited control should be contextualized within broader career strategy. Authority, when coupled with leverage, networks, and independent assets, can eventually translate into genuine autonomy. Promotions are not endpoints, they are platforms. Recognizing where influence is real versus symbolic ensures that energy is invested where it produces sustainable results. In conclusion, promotion often provides authority without control. Conditional decision-making, scrutiny, resource limitations, organizational politics, and psychological expectation gaps all contribute to this disconnect. True leadership and autonomy require a strategic navigation, external leverage, and systems thinking. Professionals who understand the limits of authority and invest in independent channels of influence convert symbolic power into functional control, transforming promotion from a source of dependency into a tool for long-term growth and independence. Chapter 5: Escaping the Approval Trap. One of the most subtle yet destructive traps in professional life is the need for approval. From early in our careers, many are conditioned to equate recognition with competence, respect with advancement, and compliance with security. Promotions, accolades, and titles can temporarily satisfy this craving, but they rarely address the underlying dependence on validation. The approval trap keeps professionals tethered to external expectations. limiting autonomy, creativity, and long-term growth. The first dimension of this trap is decision-making dependency. Professionals often hesitate to act unless they know a superior will endorse the choice. Each decision is weighed against perceived standards, organizational norms, or the potential for praise. While this approach reduces short-term risk, it also slows action, suppresses initiative, and reduces leverage. A promoted professional may gain authority on paper but remain psychologically constrained, executing within the boundaries of anticipated approval rather than a strategic necessity. Second, overemphasis on approval creates misaligned priorities. Time, energy, and resources are devoted to visible outcomes that earn recognition, rather than activities that produce scalable or independent value. Professionals focus on tasks that are noticed, praised, or rewarded, while neglecting foundational work such as building systems, acquiring transferable skills, or creating alternative revenue streams. Promotion amplifies this behavior as higher positions carry heightened scrutiny, increasing the pressure to conform to expectations and perform according to external metrics. Third, the approval trap reinforces risk aversion. Fear of criticism or failure can prevent bold decisions, experimentation, or a strategic innovation. And professionals may maintain the status quo to preserve image and reputation, even when alternative approaches could generate greater leverage. Over time, this mindset limits career growth, stifles creative problem-solving, and constrains independence. Ironically, seeking approval in pursuit of security often increases vulnerability to systemic changes outside one's control. Escaping the approval trap requires a deliberate shift in mindset. First, define self-determined metrics of success. Instead of equating competence with recognition from others, measure impact through tangible outcomes, efficiency, or influence that produces leverage. These metrics should focus on results that persist independently of organizational validation, ensuring that effort translates into durable value rather than temporary praise. Second, prioritize autonomy over recognition. Professionals must learn to act within boundaries that maximize leverage and independence, even if the outcomes are less visible. This may include building systems, developing intellectual capital, or creating networks that extend influence outside immediate supervision. The focus shifts from performing for approval to strategically building assets and the skills that compound over time. Third, embrace calculated risk. Professionals who avoid seeking constant validation can pursue initiatives that carry uncertainty but offer long-term rewards. Calculated risk involves assessing potential outcomes, understanding constraints, and designing safeguards rather than avoiding action out of fear of criticism. Promotion may increase visibility, but by consciously decoupling effort from approval, professionals can leverage higher positions to take bold strategic steps. Delegation is a fourth strategy. By empowering capable team members to act independently, professionals free themselves from micromanagement pressures while creating a scalable impact. Delegation also reduces dependence on personal visibility as the sole measure of competence. Recognition becomes a byproduct of effective systems and collective output rather than a driver of every action. Building internal resilience is essential. Professionals must cultivate confidence in judgment, clarity in objectives, and patience for delayed results. Emotional detachment from immediate validation allows for deliberate decision-making and strategic planning. Over time, the capacity to act without external approval strengthens independence, reduces stress, and enhances leverage. Networking outside the organization further mitigates the approval trap. Connections, collaborations, and mentorships beyond immediate reporting lines provide perspective, alternative feedback, and potential opportunities. External validation becomes diversified and less dependent on a single supervisor or organizational structure, enhancing both flexibility and autonomy. Finally, integrating the lessons of the approval trap into daily practice ensures sustainable growth. Professionals who act with strategic intent, measure success through independent outcomes, embrace calculated risk, and leverage systems and networks convert the pursuit of recognition into a structured autonomy. They use promotion as a platform for freedom rather than a measure of worth, escaping the psychological limitations that often accompany higher positions. In summary, the approval trap keeps professionals dependent on external validation, distorts priorities, reinforces risk aversion, and limits leverage. Promotions and titles may temporarily satisfy the need for recognition, but they do not resolve the underlying structural vulnerability. Escaping this trap requires redefining metrics of success, prioritizing autonomy, embracing calculated risk, delegating effectively, building resilience, and diversifying sources of influence. By doing so, professionals transform recognition from a requirement into a byproduct, creating real freedom, strategic leverage, and sustainable growth. Chapter 6: One Role, Multiple Dependencies. A single role within an organization often conceals multiple layers of dependency. But professionals may assume that promotion, experience, or tenure equates to autonomy. Yet every position carries hidden obligations to supervisors, processes, teams, and the broader organizational ecosystem. Understanding these dependencies is critical because ignoring them can create a stagnation, stress, and vulnerability even at higher levels of authority. The first dependency is organizational alignment. Every role exists within a system of objectives, policies, and hierarchies. No matter the level of promotion, success requires adherence to organizational strategy. Decisions, initiatives, and priorities must fit within predefined frameworks even when innovation or efficiency could be achieved outside these constraints. The higher the role, the more interconnected these frameworks become, increasing reliance on others for approvals, coordination, and collaboration. Autonomy is limited even when it feels like authority. Second, there's dependency on teams, but most roles, particularly managerial positions, require effective collaboration with subordinates, peers, and cross-functional departments. Team performance directly affects outcomes, recognition, and leverage. Challenges arise when teams are under-resourced, unaligned, or poorly trained. The professional is forced to compensate for gaps in skill, motivation, or communication, consuming time and energy that could otherwise be directed toward strategic initiatives. A promotion does not eliminate this dependency. It often amplifies it, as leadership requires oversight, coaching, and problem resolution. Third, external stakeholders create additional layers of reliance. Clients, partners, vendors, or regulatory bodies can impose constraints that shape priorities and decisions. Even with authority internally, external dependencies can dictate timelines, outcomes, and accountability. Professionals may spend significant energy managing relationships, responding to demands and negotiating terms, leaving less capacity for creating independent leverage or pursuing unscalable opportunities. The role may provide prestige, but true control remains shared or conditional. Technology and processes introduce another subtle dependency. Modern organizations rely on systems for communication, project management, and data analysis. While these tools increase efficiency, they also create reliance. Access, functionality, and adoption of these systems determine how much a professional can act independently. A role's perceived authority is often mediated through technology and standardized procedures. Without mastery or adaptation, these systems can become bottlenecks rather than instruments of leverage. Time is an ever-present dependency. Even highly paid professionals or senior managers are bound by hours, deadlines, and expectations. Meetings, reporting obligations, and operational responsibilities consume the very resource that defines freedom. Promotion may offer higher pay or status, but the time required to maintain performance, manage dependencies, and meet external expectations remains fixed. The perception of advancement can create the illusion of control, yet the underlying constraint, time scarcity, persists. Financial dependency is another critical layer. A higher salary can provide comfort and recognition, but it rarely insulates against organizational or market disruption. Expenses often rise in parallel with income, creating a fragile equilibrium. Bonus structures, stock options, or performance-based incentives further tie compensation to conditional outcomes. Professionals remain dependent on the organization's continued success, strategic decisions, and market stability, even in advanced roles. Psychological dependency is often overlooked. Professionals internalize external expectations while seeking validation from superiors, peers, and clients. This need shapes behavior, decision-making, and risk tolerance. High-level positions increase visibility and pressure, reinforcing reliance on approval and perceived performance metrics. Authority may appear real, but the underlying autonomy is constrained by internalized pressures. Breaking free from these overlapping dependencies requires deliberate strategy. First, map out all sources of reliance. Identify which aspects of the role depend on approval, processes, time, or external stakeholders. Understanding the structure of dependency is a prerequisite for building autonomy. Second, develop systems that convert dependencies into leverage. This might involve delegating effectively, automating repetitive tasks, or creating frameworks that allow teams to function independently. Third, diversify outcomes and resources. Instead of relying solely on organizational validation or a single income stream, professionals should cultivate alternative assets, networks, and opportunities. The goal is to reduce vulnerability to shifts in organizational priorities, market changes, or team performance. Fourth, prioritize high-leverage work. Not all tasks carry equal value. Focus on initiatives that scale outcomes, produce compounding effects, or enhance independence. Finally, cultivate a mindset that distinguishes role-defined authority from genuine autonomy. Understanding that any single position carries inherent dependencies allows professionals to strategically use the role as a platform rather than a limitation. By leveraging the position to build systems, relationships, and independent income, a professional transforms dependency into opportunity. Promotion becomes a tool, not a measure of freedom. In summary, every role is a network of dependencies: organizational alignment, team performance, external stakeholders, technology, time, financial structures, and psychological pressures. Promotion or increased authority does not eliminate these dependencies. It often intensifies them. Professionals who recognize, map, and strategically mitigate these dependencies convert potential constraints into leverage, creating autonomy and scalable growth. Success is no longer defined by position alone, but by the systems, skills, and strategies that extend influence beyond the boundaries of the role. Chapter 7. One skill, many leverage points. In every professional journey, one often overlooked principle determines long-term growth: leverage. Not financial leverage alone, but leverage in skills, influence, and decision-making. A single skill, strategically developed and applied, can multiply opportunities, increase autonomy, and reduce dependency on titles, promotions, or approval. That understanding how to transform one skill into multiple leverage points is essential for turning a job into a platform for independence. The first step is identifying high-value skills. These are not necessarily technical abilities or credentials alone. They are capabilities that create measurable outcomes, solve critical problems, and remain in demand across contexts. Communication, negotiation, strategic thinking, and systems design are examples of skills that scale beyond immediate tasks. My high-value skills are transferable. They can be applied in different roles, organizations, or industries, generating opportunities independent of any single job. Once a skill is identified, the next step is amplification. This involves finding multiple avenues to apply it. Consider a professional with expertise in data analysis. Applied to internal reporting, it increases operational efficiency. Applied to cross-departmental projects, it enhances influence. Applied to consulting, it becomes an independent revenue source. By diversifying application, a single skill transforms from a linear competency into a multi-dimensional tool that generates leverage across several contexts simultaneously. Mentorship and teaching are powerful forms of skill leverage. By training others, a professional extends the impact of their expertise without direct input on every task. Mentoring colleagues or junior staff multiplies influence, creating systems where the skill functions through others. Teaching externally via courses, workshops, or content creation further expands reach, creating value independent of organizational constraints. One skill becomes many leverage points when it is multiplied through knowledge transfer. Networking magnifies a skill leverage. Relationships with peers, clients, and industry leaders allow skills to produce outcomes beyond immediate projects. What a well-cultivated network can convert expertise into consulting opportunities, joint ventures, or collaborative problem-solving. Social capital transforms a single skill into a vehicle for influence and opportunity that transcends the limits of a role or title. Strategic application of skills through networks expands both scope and impact. Automation and systems creation are another vector of leverage. Skills can be embedded into processes, software, or frameworks that function independently of personal execution. A marketing professional, for example, can design systems that automate campaigns or decision-making frameworks, allowing the expertise to scale beyond time-bound effort. Leverage is created when one skill produces output without continuous input, converting effort into persistent value. The principle of compounding applies here as well. Just as financial assets grow through reinvestment, both skills can compound through consistent application, refinement, and expansion. A single core ability, when combined with complementary skills, like combining strategic thinking with persuasion, creates unique leverage that accelerates growth and increases independence. Professionals who recognize the compounding nature of skill development gain a structural advantage over those who rely solely on position or tenure. Financial application is also a key consideration. The skills that solve high-value problems or generate measurable impact can be monetized outside traditional employment. Freelancing consulting, product creation, or licensing are examples where one's expertise produces income independent of a single organization. By viewing skills as capital, professionals transform work into a source of a scalable value. Promotion and pay raises are no longer the only determinants of income potential. Resilience and adaptability amplify leverage. Skills that remain relevant under changing conditions, technological, organizational, or market shifts, create enduring value. Professionals who focus on adaptable, high-impact competencies can pivot across roles or industries, reducing dependence on any single position or promotion. One skill, strategically maintained, becomes a safeguard against systemic changes that would otherwise limit progress. Finally, integrating skill leverage into a career strategy requires conscious design. But map out where a skill can produce influence, income, and autonomy simultaneously. Identify barriers and design systems to bypass dependency. Seek opportunities that maximize application and visibility while minimizing reliance on approval, organizational bottlenecks, or resource scarcity. By treating one skill as a multi-point leverage tool, professionals convert effort into exponential outcomes. In summary, a single skill, when strategically developed and applied, can become a network of leverage points that magnify influence, income, and independence. Amplification through application, mentorship, networks, automation, compounding, and adaptability transforms work from a linear effort into a scalable impact. Understanding this principle allows professionals to use promotion not as a crutch, but as a platform for leveraging expertise, creating autonomy, and building long-term strategic advantage. Titles and paychecks are secondary. The skill leverage is the foundation of a sustainable growth. Chapter 8. Building leverage. While you climb, advancement within an organization often comes with the expectation that climbing the ladder will automatically bring freedom, security, and influence. In reality, every step upward increases visibility, responsibility, and frequently dependency. Promotion alone does not create autonomy, it merely changes the form of the constraints. But building leverage while climbing ensures that each advancement serves as a platform for long-term independence rather than a trap of increasing obligations. The first principle is identifying what can be leveraged. Leverage is any system, resource, or skill that multiplies outcomes without requiring linear input. Time, money, skills, networks, and authority all have leverage potential, but only if intentionally applied. Without conscious design, the promotion simply trades one set of linear constraints for another. Professionals must assess which elements of their role can generate a scalable influence, whether through process optimization, team empowerment, or strategic initiatives. Time is the most immediate form of leverage. As responsibilities grow, time pressure intensifies. To build leverage, high-impact tasks should be prioritized, and low-value or repetitive tasks should be delegated or automated. For example, a manager can design reporting systems that reduce manual updates, freeing hours for strategic initiatives. Similarly, recurring decisions can be standardized through frameworks or templates, allowing influence to scale without proportional effort. Every saved hour represents leverage that can be reinvested in growth, skill development, or independent projects. Team and talent are another critical leverage point. Leaders who empower capable individuals to act independently multiply their own effectiveness. Delegation is not merely an operational tool, it is a strategic instrument to convert direct effort into amplified results. By aligning team members' incentives with objectives and providing clear systems, A professional ensures that output continues even when they are not directly involved. Leverage grows when systems function autonomously rather than relying solely on personal input. But financial leverage is equally important. Compensation from promotion can be reinvested strategically into assets that generate independent income. Professionals should focus on investments, intellectual property, or side ventures that function outside the organization. This approach reduces vulnerability to organizational changes and creates multiple streams of capital. Promotion becomes a funding mechanism for leverage rather than an endpoint in itself. When skill leverage continues to play a vital role, advanced positions often provide access to higher order skills, broader networks, and visibility. Instead of relying solely on position for influence, professionals can deploy these skills externally, consulting, teaching, or creating products and frameworks. The combination of expertise and opportunity allows leverage to extend beyond the immediate organizational structure, reducing dependency on hierarchical approval. Relationship leverage is another dimension. As one climbs, relationships with peers, mentors, and industry leaders increase in value. These connections can amplify influence, open new opportunities, and provide safety nets in times of disruption. Strategic networking transforms authority within an organization into influence across an ecosystem, ensuring that promotion amplifies freedom rather than merely increasing responsibility. Leverage also requires mindset, and professionals must view promotion as a platform, not a destination. Titles, pay, and recognition are temporary indicators, but a structural independence is permanent. This requires deliberate planning, assessing which parts of a role can be transformed into scalable systems, which skills can be multiplied, and which relationships can provide durable opportunities. Without a leverage mindset, advancement can become a treadmill, busier, more visible, but not freer. Risk management is essential in the leverage building process. Every system, network, or asset has potential points of failure. Professionals must anticipate constraints, dependencies, and vulnerabilities. Diversifying income, skills, and influence ensures that a single disruption does not compromise overall leverage. Strategic positioning converts potential risks into opportunities, allowing autonomy to grow while climbing. Finally, the process is iterative. Each promotion, project, or responsibility should be evaluated for its leverage potential. What systems can be created? Which skills can be amplified? Which relationships can be strengthened? By continually converting new opportunities into scalable leverage, professionals ensure that each step upward not only enhances a status, but also strengthens independence, resilience, and optionality. In conclusion, building leverage while climbing is the key to transforming promotion from a trap into a tool. By systematically applying time, talent, financial resources, skills, relationships, and strategic thinking, professionals multiply outcomes without proportionally increasing effort. Promotion becomes a platform for autonomy, allowing authority, visibility, and compensation to serve long-term growth rather than temporary validation. Those who master leverage while advancing create a career that generates independence, resilience, and sustainable strategic advantage. Chapter 9: Escaping Linear Growth. Most professionals operate under the assumption that career growth is linear. More hours, more effort, more responsibility, and eventually more rewards. Yet linear growth has inherent limits. Time and energy are finite, and dependence on a single employer or income source amplifies vulnerability. escaping linear growth is essential to achieving real autonomy, financial freedom, and a scalable influence. The key is shifting from effort-driven advancement to leverage-driven strategy. Linear growth is constrained by time. No matter how skilled or dedicated, a professional can only work a finite number of hours in a day. Promotions or raises increase responsibility, but do not extend time. In fact, higher positions often require more hours, more decisions, and more accountability. As a result, incremental effort does not equate to proportional gain. The higher one climbs without leverage, the closer one approaches a ceiling of effectiveness and satisfaction. Dependency on organizational structures compounds the limitation. Linear advancement ties income, recognition, and influence to a single chain of command. Organizational shifts, budget cuts, or management changes can disrupt progress. Professionals who rely solely on incremental promotions remain exposed to systemic risks. Linear growth is fragile because it is contingent on factors outside the individual's control. But rather than being built on scalable systems or independent assets, escaping linear growth requires identifying exponential opportunities. Exponential growth emerges when effort is multiplied through systems, networks, or compounding skills. For instance, building a team that can operate independently allows one professional's influence to reach beyond their direct labor. Similarly, creating intellectual property, automating processes, or monetizing knowledge converts time-limited input into a scalable output. 1 hour of a strategic work can then yield returns that far exceed the same effort applied without leverage. Diversifying income streams is another critical strategy. Dependence on a single salary creates a ceiling. Alternative revenue channels break it. Side businesses, consulting, investments, or digital products generate income independent of linear effort. Promotion within a company can provide capital, credibility, and networks to fund these ventures. By intentionally redirecting energy toward scalable sources of income, professionals shift from linear dependence to exponential potential. Skill compounding is a third method of escaping linear growth. High-value transferable skills grow in impact when layered with complementary expertise. A single skill, such as strategic thinking, can combine with negotiation, communication, or technical ability to open multiple avenues for influence, decision-making, and monetization. Unlike linear growth, where one skill equals one outcome, compounding the skills multiply opportunities and create resilience against organizational dependency. Network leverage plays a crucial role as well. Relationships, when nurtured strategically, convert one professional's effort into collective outcomes. Mentorship, collaborations, and partnerships amplify influence far beyond individual capability. Networks allow knowledge, reputation, and resources to flow in ways that reduce reliance on linear approval or position-based authority. Exponential growth emerges when one's skill and credibility are distributed across a web of connections. Time optimization must also be intentional. Linear growth often equates to overwork, where hours spent are the primary measure of productivity. Escaping this trap requires prioritizing high-leverage activities, delegating or automating repetitive tasks, and reserving focus for strategic initiatives. Deep work, uninterrupted, high-impact effort produces outcomes disproportionate to time invested, breaking the constraints of linearity. Psychological discipline is essential. Professionals must resist equating busyness with progress. Linear effort can feel productive due to visible activity, yet without leverage, it produces marginal returns. cultivating awareness of compounding potential, opportunity cost, and the scalability ensures that actions are aligned with growth beyond the limitations of time and hierarchy. Autonomy becomes a function of a strategy rather than effort. Finally, the mindset shift is paramount. Linear growth emphasizes incremental rewards tied to organizational approval, hours worked, and hierarchical position. Escaping this model requires redefining success, leveraging skills, systems, networks, and assets to generate outcomes that do not require constant personal input. By thinking in terms of leverage, compounding, and the scalability, professionals transform career progression into a pathway toward independence, optionality, and durable wealth. In the summary, linear growth is limited by time, dependency, and finite capacity. True autonomy and sustainable advancement come from escaping linearity by building systems, compounding skills, diversifying income, leveraging networks, and optimizing time. Professionals who master this shift convert promotion, effort, and skill into exponential impact, creating resilience, freedom, and the strategic advantage that no single title or paycheck can provide. Chapter 10. Redefining success on your terms. Success is often defined externally: the title you hold, the salary you earn, or the recognition you receive. Throughout a career, professionals are conditioned to chase promotions, accolades, and approval as markers of achievement. Yet these traditional measures rarely translate into autonomy, financial freedom, or personal fulfillment. Redefining success on your own terms is the final and most critical step in transforming a career from linear dependence to strategic leverage. The first principle in redefining success is separating identity from position. A title or role does not determine value or potential. Many highly skilled, influential, and autonomous professionals operate outside conventional hierarchies. When identity is tied to position, decisions are constrained by fear of judgment, approval, or perceived failure. By decoupling self-worth from organizational metrics, professionals gain the mental freedom to pursue initiatives that produce real leverage, even if they fall outside conventional definitions of success. Second, redefine success in terms of autonomy and leverage. Autonomy is the ability to make decisions and act without dependency on external approval or constraints. Leverage is the capacity to amplify outcomes through skills, systems, networks, and resources. Success is achieved not by working more hours or attaining higher titles, but by creating structures where impact scales beyond personal effort. A professional who can influence outcomes, generate independent income, and build resilience has achieved a level of success that promotion alone cannot provide. Third, prioritize financial independence. True professional success is not only about income, but about control over the sources of that income. Relying solely on a single employer, paycheck, or bonus exposes one to risk. Building multiple income streams, investing in assets that produce compounding returns, and using skills as marketable capital transforms compensation from a dependency into a lever. Financial independence enables choice, flexibility, and security, cornerstones of a career defined on one's own terms. Fourth, focus on skills that produce long-term value. High-leverage skills, when developed strategically, allow professionals to operate beyond organizational constraints. Communication, problem-solving, systems thinking, and strategic analysis are examples of competencies that remain valuable across industries, roles, and economic cycles. Investing in these skills ensures that success is portable, scalable, and resilient, providing freedom to act independently of any single role or hierarchy. Fifth, cultivate relationships strategically. Networks of peers, mentors, collaborators, and industry leaders serve as conduits for influence and opportunity. Relationships expand leverage, enabling access to resources, information, and projects that would otherwise be unavailable. Success is not measured by visibility alone, but by the capacity to mobilize connections for meaningful outcomes. Professionals who invest in networks amplify impact, reduce dependency, and create options for autonomous action. Time management is another critical dimension, while success is often mistakenly equated with busyness. True achievement is measured by outcomes, particularly those that continue to produce value without constant personal input. Prioritizing high-leverage tasks, automating repetitive processes, and delegating effectively converts hours into a strategic impact. Professionals who redefine success as efficiency and leverage escape the trap of endless activity without progress. Psychological resilience supports long-term success. Professionals must detach from societal and organizational expectations, withstand scrutiny, and tolerate ambiguity. Pressure, criticism, and temporary setbacks are inevitable, but those who define success internally remain focused on strategic goals rather than external validation. Emotional discipline enables decisive action, mitigates reactive behavior, and reinforces autonomy. Redefining success also involves setting clear, measurable goals aligned with personal values. Objectives should encompass financial independence, skill mastery, influence, time freedom, and scalability. Unlike externally imposed metrics, these goals are under individual control and directly linked to outcomes that compound over time. Clear targets transform abstract ambition into actionable strategy, guiding decisions and prioritizing effort toward meaningful leverage. Finally, success is iterative and adaptive. Professional landscapes, markets, and personal aspirations evolve. A career defined on personal terms must remain flexible, continuously reassessing which skills, relationships, and systems generate the greatest leverage. By maintaining a long-term perspective and adjusting strategies in response to change, professionals ensure that progress compounds rather than stagnates. Promotion, pay increases, or recognition become tools within a broader framework, not endpoints themselves. In conclusion, by redefining success on your own terms is the culmination of a career strategy that emphasizes autonomy, leverage, and independence. It requires separating identity from role, prioritizing high-value skills, building networks, achieving financial independence, optimizing time, cultivating resilience, and setting measurable personal goals. By adopting this framework, professionals escape the traps of dependency, linear growth, and external validation. Promotion and accolades become platforms for a strategic leverage rather than metrics of achievement. True success is no longer defined by titles or paychecks. It is defined by freedom, influence, and the ability to create lasting impact on one's own terms.